This is my mule high heel story, and by the end of this, you're gonna look at your own shoe collection a little differently. So, a few months back, I was scrolling through shoes online, like I always do, and I kept seeing these mule heels everywhere. No backstrap, just a pointy or square front, and a heel that made them look expensive even when they weren't. Everyone was wearing them. Every influencer, every store window, every ad that popped up on my phone. And I kept telling myself, no way, those things are gonna fall off my feet the second I take a step. I had this idea in my head that mules were just not practical. Like, why would you buy a shoe that doesn't even hold on to your foot properly? I've worn heels for years. I know how to walk in them. I know how to pick them. But mules felt like a shoe made for pictures, not for real life. Not for someone who actually has to walk through a parking lot or run to catch a bus or stand for hours at an event. But the problem was, I kept getting invited to things in 2026 where I wanted to look put together without trying too hard. A dinner here, a birthday there, a work thing I couldn't skip. And every time I'd stand in front of my closet holding the same three pairs of heels I always wore, feeling kind of bored of myself. I wanted something new. I wanted something that felt like me, but also felt like an upgrade. And that's when the mule thing came back into my head. So one night, I finally gave in. I ordered a pair. Nothing crazy expensive, just a simple pointed toe mule in a soft caramel color. Medium heel, nothing too high, because I still didn't fully trust them yet. And when they showed up, I remember opening the box and just staring at them for a second. They looked so simple, almost too simple. I thought, this is either going to be the best shoe I own or the biggest waste of money I've made all year. I tried them on in my room first, just walking back and forth on the carpet, and honestly, they felt fine. But carpet doesn't count. Carpet is not real life. So the real test was going to be the first time I actually wore them out somewhere. That first time came sooner than I expected. I had a lunch with a friend I hadn't seen in a while, somewhere with actual walking involved, from the car to the restaurant, across a parking lot, up some stairs, and I remember standing at my front door thinking, okay, this is the moment where I either fall on my face or I don't. I want to be honest with you. The first few steps felt a little strange. Not bad, just different. My foot wasn't used to not having anything holding the back of it in place. It felt like my foot had more freedom, but also like I had to be a little more aware of how I was stepping. Not scary, just new. Kind of like the first time you wear a new pair of shoes that aren't broken in yet. But by the time I got to the restaurant, something had changed. I wasn't thinking about the shoes anymore. I was just walking normally. And when I looked down at one point while we were talking, I actually smiled a little because they looked so good with what I was wearing. Simple jeans, a plain top, and these mules just made the whole outfit look finished, like I had tried harder than I actually did. That was the moment I got it. That was the moment I understood why everyone was wearing these things. It wasn't about how they felt when you first put them on. It was about how they made everything else look once you had them on for a bit. After that day, I wore them again and again to more things than I expected. And here's where the story gets a little more real, because it wasn't all perfect. There was one night, a friend's birthday dinner, where I wore a slightly higher pair of mules for the first time, and by the end of the night, my feet were begging me to take them off. I actually took them off under the table at one point because my feet needed a break, and mules don't hide that struggle the way a strappy heel sometimes can. That night, I almost went back to thinking mules just weren't for me. I remember sitting in the car afterward thinking maybe I just got lucky with the first pair and higher ones are a different story completely. But instead of giving up, I started paying attention to what actually worked. I noticed the heel height mattered a lot. Anything too high and my foot would slide forward the entire night, fighting gravity with every step. But a heel that sat in a certain sweet spot, not too flat, not too tall, felt completely different. I also noticed the shape of the toe mattered. A more closed, structured toe held my foot in place so much better than an open, loose one. So I started being more careful with what I picked, not giving up on mules, just getting smarter about which ones I chose. And slowly, they became the shoe I reached for the most. Not the strappy ones, not the ones with buckles and zippers, just the simple mule, slide right in, walk out the door. There was one specific night that really sealed it for me. I had an event where I actually had to stand for hours, barely any sitting down, moving around a room talking to different people the entire time. And I wore mules that night, the same style I had figured out worked best for me by then. And at the end of the night, when I finally got in the car and took a breath, my feet didn't feel destroyed. They felt tired, sure, heels are heels, but not that awful pain I used to feel with some of my old strappy pairs after a long night like that. That was the real climax of this whole thing for me. Standing there at the end of that event, realizing the shoe I almost gave up on completely had actually become the most comfortable option in my entire closet once I understood how to wear them right. So here's what I actually learned from all of this. Mules aren't a bad shoe, they're just a shoe that needs a little bit of understanding before you fully trust them. The heel height matters more than people think, the shape of the toe matters, and honestly, giving them more than one try matters too, because that first walk isn't always the full story. If you've been on the fence about trying mules because you're scared they'll slide off or feel unstable, I get it. I felt exactly the same way. But don't judge them off one uncomfortable night or one awkward first walk. Give them a real chance. Pick the right height for you, and you might end up like me, reaching for them more than any other pair you own. If this story helped you see mules a little differently, subscribe so you don't miss the next one.